Hello, beautiful family. How are you all doing? Thank you so dearly for always supporting me in this particular channel. I really do appreciate. If today the first time you are coming across this channel or you are seeing my face for the first time, I still remain your one and only Agatha Progress, bringing it to you live and direct. Remember, in this channel, we react to all videos, and your opinion is highly needed. So just sit back and enjoy this video, and I will be right back.
Dr. Chu Ayuba, for your information and for the records, Dr. Chu Ayuba is the former Secretary General of Southern Cameroonian Youth League, SCYL, and is the current leader of Ambazonia Governing Council. Please welcome to Tough Talk here on Radio Biafra, London.
All hail Biafra. Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you and welcome. Without any more preambles, we are going to go straight into this program. It's a tough talk program where we ask questions without trying to be politically correct. Dr. Ayuba, please, in 1993, you were expelled from the University of Abuja for staging a one-man demonstration against tuition increases. You have been in exile from Cameroon since then. Please tell us more about the incident in 1993 and what motivated your actions. Over to you, sir.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. And I want to send my patriotic salute to our Biafran counterparts and to my friend Mazila Likano, who is being held in captivity by a brutal occupying regime. And I want to assure Biafrans that the leader of 70 million indigenous people cannot be held captive indefinitely by a genocidal regime that has murdered millions of Biafrans. And I'm going to do all in my capacity as a friend of the Biafran people to make sure that we can inspire millions to rise up against this tyranny that has been imposed both in our country and in Biafra. In 1993, I became the first Ambazonian student to be admitted in an English-speaking university in Ambazonia. Because all through our existence, we studied in English up till high school. There was no university in English. We either moved over to Biafra land, or for those who had money, they traveled to the United Kingdom. We went on the street in 1992 and demanded that Cameroon create an English-speaking university. It was created in 1993, and I was admitted to study mathematics and computer sciences. But there was no computer. I moved from mathematics and computer to study chemistry and chemical process technology. There was no lab. There were no lecture halls. But the same regime, the same people who had studied in different universities free of charge, who had taken part in massive embezzlement, who had rigged the economy, who had destroyed the economy, wanted to impose an exorbitant amount of school fees on students. And I argued that because we were facing economic crisis, most of us who were attending university came from poor backgrounds. I made it clear to the administration, you cannot increase fees because it was going to lead to, thousands of students losing their places. And they continued with the agenda of the imposition of fees. I undertook a one-man action against the authorities. I was expelled and banned from attending any other university in the country. We emerged from there and created the Southern Cameroon's Youth League to fight for the independence of Ambazonia. And that led to my moving into exile.
What was your initial motivation? I know that time you must be a young lad. What was your motivations in staging this very difficult, and is it a one-man demonstration?
My motivation was driven by the fact that when that university was created, I mean, we had lost so many people who protested for the creation of that university. Many had been murdered, people had been kidnapped and jailed. All those who were appointed as chancellors who have been robbed of their land, their identity, and their well-being. So we have dismissed this appellation imposed by Yaoundé, and which has been taken by the West as an easy way to reduce, what we see as an outcome that will lead to independence, to addressing, issues of language, issues of identity, and other aspects.
Okay, I want you to go more further, please, by elaborating. Look at this. You are fighting for Ambazonia Republic, whereas some African elites are calling for a united Africa. How do you relate your fight for the Republic of Ambazonia with the unity of Africa, which is being portrayed by some African elites? How do you relate the two, please?
The reason why Africa is not united is because the Pan-Africanist idea of the late 50s and early 60s was designed as a project to stand against Western imperialism rather than a project to protect African peoples. The right to self-determination of African peoples is not inconsistent with the Pan-Africanist idea of the unity of Africa. We shall never achieve African unity when Nigeria is occupying Biafra, plundering its resources, and kidnapping its leader and renditioning its leader. We shall never achieve African unity when Cameroon has occupied Ambazonia. The notion of African unity is about the freedom of African peoples who should be able to constitute political system over their own nations, to have independent states that can then negotiate unity with other states for the interests of the African people. The current notion of Pan-Africanism is driven by tyrants who are overseeing states for the interests of Western countries, and who are plundering our resources for their own personal interests and the interests of multinational companies abroad. What we are seeking, for example, the alliance between Biafra and Ambazonia, which will extend to other nations that are seeking external self-determination, would ensure that we have true political freedom, where our institutions will be shaped according to our local realities. We have true economic freedom, where our own economic doctrine is going to be a reflection of the desires of our people within our own local government areas. And this is the only way we can achieve a truly united Africa, because once peoples have true freedom, true independence, both political and economic, they can then negotiate broader political and economic union that serves their interests, not corrupt political leaders and Western multinational companies.
Thank you very much. What you're saying now, it means in
On to power for 40 years, loot the treasury, plunder the economy, create environmental disaster, and refuse peoples within their own state to seek external self-determination. When millions of people have been denied opportunities, for example, in Biafra, and then you have Biafrans rising up, and then that state kidnaps its leader, burn down villages, and cause mayhem. And so what we are looking forward to is to be able to establish true states based on some characteristics that are indigenous in nature, and then negotiate to expand opportunities by forming alliances with other truly independent states whose governments are accountable to their people, who exploit resources to develop their communities, and who have the interests of their people at heart, not looters and murderers whose only interest is their bank account and multinational companies that have kept them in power.
That is very clear. Now, I want to...
What the enemy does is to project the occupied people as some sort of a pariah, as a danger, to isolate them, to build a counter-freedom narrative. What our alliance with Biafra showed Biafrans was that, hey, we aren't alone. We've got a friend across the border. What it showed Ambazonia is that we are not alone. We are not hemmed by Nigeria and Cameroon, but we have a powerful friend. He also has economic advantages. There are thousands and thousands of Biafrans who are living in Amazonia. The economy of Ambazonia is fueled by the trade between Ambazonia and Biafra. Because we don't have opportunities within Cameroon, our people trade more with Biafra because of the ingenuity and creativity of the Biafran people. And just think of it. Biafra 70 million, Ambazonia 10 million. That's an 80 million strong economy that hosts massive natural resources. But that's not all. Think about the human resource that Biafra and Ambazonia represent. And I think if we all struggle and become free, we are going to be the beacon of hope, not only for the continent of Africa, but across the world, because of our ingenuity, our creativity, to be able to use our human talents to generate wealth for our people, harness the potentials in our both lands to make sure that we can give our people a shot in a world where they have lived under oppression and uncertainty. And this is what the neo-colonialists they fear, because all what they have been used to are puppet states, which they have handed them political independence in the night while they are controlling economic independence. These puppet states serve their interests. We have pledged, Mazi and myself pledge, not to only use the natural resources we have, but to develop the human potentials in our people, to be able to give our people a sense of dignity and hope, to make them, tap into their own systems to be able to develop their community. That's not all. There are millions of Biafrans across the world. There are thousands and hundreds of thousands of Ambazonia across the world. We will open up the space for these exiles to become engineers, to become entrepreneurs, to create opportunities for our people, to be the primary investors post-independence so we can own, the outcome of those investments. So we have a lot we have spoken about. Open the border between the two states and allow free trade zone that is going to generate billions and billions of amber and Biafran for both people. And this is scary to the world. But I've also assured and begin to educate and begin to accept who we are and to revisit what made us who we are, not what was imposed on us to make us what the colonial masters wanted of us for both their political and economic interests. You accountable for every soul that you wasted. Even your dead body will be brought in front of our courts to try and hang it.
Okay. Now, is there any changes that would be made by the government of Cameroon that could make you change your mind in this struggle for Ambazonia?
Let me stop you. Don't ask that question. We have nothing left to compromise on. We want the butchers out of our land, and we want them to pay reparation for 60 years of murder and looting.
Exactly.
If they don't, we will fight to the gates of hell to kick them out. And if God gives us the power, we will take part of their land and hold it until they pay us reparation. There is no turning back, as you said, because there is no back left to turn to. Behind us is the bodies of thousands of our people that litter the road. We are not going back over those dead bodies. We are fighting to the bitter end until we are free. And yes, any possibility, like the Eritreans did, to overthrow the Ethiopian government, we will form alliances with Cameroonians who are willing to be trained to overthrow that regime. As I said, there will be no nation along our border that is controlled by colonialists. We must be free.
Okay. A struggle of this magnitude is highly tedious and monstrous. Are there political
Resistance is going to be the order of the day. He is now in exile, and I know he still dreams Ambazonia.
That's fantastic, honestly. I love people like that. Some people, we are hoping that you are...
Public relations disaster. Cameroon thought it was guarding soldiers. It was making it impossible for any tourist who ever thought of coming into Ambazonia to ever come in there. It made it impossible for anyone who ever thought they would make an investment in a country where a cop cannot be held under normal circumstances to ever make that investment that would create opportunity for Cameroon. So we succeeded in making sure Cameroon never reaped the benefit that it intended in reaping, which is consistent with why other countries have posted.
What do you have to say about it?
Why do you believe in the Nigerian court? Why do you believe in the court of the oppressor? Why do you believe that the arsonist must become the firefighter? Why do Biafrans sit and hope on the court of their oppressor? It baffles me. You people should think of rescue Marvin Ambikanu. The people who committed genocide on him, the people who kidnapped him from Kenya and renditioned him, the people who a couple of years ago attacked his house and murdered too many people. You expecting justice from them? Or is it the kind of justice he had a few years behind and it was taken away back from him just last year? Biafrans, you people haven't started.
Good.
Nigeria takes the lead of 70 million and you sit back and hope on the institution created by the same oppressor? Sit up. I don't count on the courts.
Okay.
Thank you, and I assure you that Biafrans are doing something about it. And
we have promised we will match them gun for gun and ideal for ideal to make sure the next generation receives a better land than we ever had.
Hey, this is the president of Ambazonia speaking. You can see the action in his words. He makes some very nice point and said, the people that kidnap His Excellency Mazi Kanu from Kenya, how do you trust their judgment? How do you trust their court? Please, that is the question for another day. And if you know the answer to that question, please do well to drop your opinion for me in the comment section, what you understand with what you listen to. All right. My word, That brings us to the end of this beautiful update. Do well to like this video, share and subscribe. The best thing for you to do is to join this family by smashing on that red subscribe button that says subscribe and turn on the bell icon for more latest updates. See you when I see you. From me to you, I say bye.